Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and we are back at the apartment complex. It was evicted with 6 days' notice to talk about why this happened and why Aurora is doing this with another complex as well, or at least trying to, and if Venezuelan gangs are really behind it, or if it's a landlord being a slumlord. There's so many questions here, and I have police reports now and stuff I got from the city of Aurora that I asked for, and I don't know if this helped clarify anything or just made it all so much more confusing, but I'll go through some of this. I'll show you articles on multiple shootings at this apartment complex that happened. We'll go over the nuisance letter that the city of Aurora sent the property owners for why they actually shut down the place. And we'll talk about what has happened recently in the news as far as the mayor and different people saying different things about this whole situation. All right, so first off, a 99-unit apartment building was emptied a couple of weeks ago. So residents were given 6 days notice to leave, which is crazy. That just never happens. And it's so weird that they listed code violations as a reason in the news and media because their documents say something else. And if it was code violations, why would they do it so quickly? Why would they only give people 6 days notice? That seems very odd to me. But Aurora police investigate claim of Venezuelan gang takeover of apartment building. This is a different apartment building. So there's been multiple accusations about this happening, and they emptied one building all the way. Well, here's another one, the Edge at Lowry apartment complex located at 1218 Dallas Street, that's owned by the same people that own the other complex that was emptied. And there's rumors that a gang's taken over in it. We've seen videos of armed men in hallways. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on, and we'll show you a lot of different articles linking shootings to the gang as well. But people say it's not under control of the gang, and some people do. So that's where the whole, I guess, differences come from, but there's no denying that there's massive amounts of violence that is responsible in some part by Venezuelan gangs. That's been confirmed by the police. So Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman said the city is seeking an emergency court order to shut down the apartment buildings that he claims had been overrun by the Venezuelan gang, declaring them a criminal nuisance. So this is the mayor of Aurora saying it was overrun by criminal gangs, and they're shutting it down by declaring them a criminal nuisance, which is exactly what happened on the other apartment complex. People say it was code violations. Even Aurora came out and said it was code violations. Their letter, which we'll show you here in a second, was for criminal nuisance. No mention of code violations. And we'll actually show you some of those code violations, and that the landlord has been working on them and fixing things, which Aurora also said he didn't do. So there's just so many confusing things on here. But one thing is that why would they only give them 6 days? That's the big stickler to me. That doesn't happen, right? As a landlord, it takes me 30 to 60 days to evict someone. Aurora just does it in 6 days, and why would they do that to people if there wasn't a really good reason for it? And the only really good reason I can think of is they also thought the building was overrun or taken over with criminal activity, which we'll show you. And they do admit, yes, we're concerned there's a small tren de Aruga presence in Aurora, and we've been taking it seriously. We have responded. We've made arrests. We'll continue to make arrests. We'll continue to address the problems that the absentee out-of-state owners of these properties have allowed to fester unchecked. Aurora will aggressively pursue all actions available under city code and criminal statute, the city said in a statement. So, along with this is stuck in this article that says there's no evidence gangs have overrun or taken over the apartment complex. A TDA member, that's the gang, identified as Shoharndi Jose Pacheco Chirino, was arrested last month in connection with a double shooting at 1568 Nome. That's the first apartment complex that was evicted. He's currently in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Let's see here. We're going to go into more of this. He was also arrested at the same address for assault, and he bonded out, came back out, was identified as a shooter in a double. I don't think it was a homicide. I don't think anybody died, but in a shooting. So here's the Aurora Police Department Twitter post, again saying they've established a special task force in collaboration with other local, state, and federal partners to specifically address concerns about the Venezuelan gangs. We've received specific questions from the public about Honardi Jose Pacheco Torino, also known as Cookie or Galletta. We previously announced his arrest in connection to a July 28th shooting. We are able to confirm is a documented member of Tren de Aruga. The department is not aware of his status with the gang, but he is a member of the gang. So they have confirmed this guy is in a Venezuelan gang and was arrested for a double shooting at the apartment complex that was vacated. Now, what about all the crime and other things that have been going on here? Sorry, before I get ahead of myself, here's the building violations observed July 23rd. And what I just wanted to show is, yes, there's lots of these, but look at the past. And the landlord has come out and said they fixed the building, worked on stuff. So they came back and they did fix quite a few things, maybe not everything, but in my previous video where I talked about this, there's literally screens missing. Bent screens are a lot of these code violations. Dog poop in the yard, potholes in the parking lot, which are literally like 6 inches wide, expired tags. They showed a picture of 2 people jumping a car and said it's a code violation for working on your car in the parking lot. So yes, there were some code violations that were more serious, bigger issues, but the landlord says those came after the gang took over the building. They couldn't go in there to fix it because they are threatened, they're told to leave, and the rumor is the gang is having people pay them instead of the landlord. Or if someone moves out, they automatically move someone in as a squatter, and then the landlord can't get them out because it's a sanctuary city and evicting people is very difficult. And even if they're a squatter, you still have to evict them because of the way Colorado is set up, because I went through that myself on one of my properties where we had someone move in who was not on the lease, and we even went to court, had an eviction date. The judge said, oh, we're just going to let them stay because they don't have anywhere to go. That happened to me. We eventually got them out because they didn't show up to the next court hearing. So for people saying, oh, the landlord should just get rid of these people, just evict them, it's not that easy in Colorado. It can be very difficult, especially in areas that are less conservative than my area, which is in Weld County up north. It can be even worse in the Denver area trying to evict people and get people out. So this landlord probably should have done a much better job, but he also was in a massive bind with being threatened, having squatters moved in, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I saw another video on Facebook, I believe, where someone said they went and helped a lady move out of one of these new apartments on Lowry, and there were people in the halls, and as soon as she moved out, they moved someone into her apartment. So, who knows? I mean, there's lots of eyewitness accounts of this happening. Is it crazy and extreme as some say? Probably not, but there's definitely room to think there's some craziness going on here. All right, and for all those people saying, oh, this isn't true, there's no violence, it was all code violations because it's a slumlord situation, this is a letter provided by Aurora to the media for why the first apartment was evicted so quickly. And then we had the mayor confirming they're trying to do it again for criminal nuisance as well. And this is a specified crime property determination notice sent September 26, 2023 to the landlord and his property manager. This notice is being sent to you, yada, yada, yada. Criminal activity on a property is a public nuisance under the Aurora Municipal Code. Property owners are expected to be vigilant in preventing or deterring crime on or in their property and will be held responsible for the use of their property by tenants, guests, and occupants. There's an extensive criminal call history for this property to include motor vehicle theft, aggravated assault, arson, and disturbing the peace. Notably, crime data indicates crime rates at the property have risen almost 30% since you purchased the property in 2019. It is my determination the property is a criminal nuisance property in violation of that. And here are all the calls here from that, and we'll go through this a little bit, don't worry. But at the end, if your property continues as a specified crime property despite this notice, I will authorize a civil proceeding seeking closure of the structure as well as the imposition of civil penalties against you as the owner of the property. The proceedings will commence in Aurora Municipal Court no sooner than 10 days after service of this notice. This notice will also be served upon the property and its tenants. So they are telling them not because of code violations. They are shutting this property down because of crime. So there's no argument that this is done because of code violations. I don't think they're even able to shut it down because of code violations. I've searched and looked and never found any other instance of them doing, anything like this for code violations. And this right here says it's because of crime. Now I have my police reports. I asked for all the police calls and records from 2020 to now, and I got a lot of them. Here this is. But it's how many pages? 16 pages, and it's so confusing because they do show me some arrests. So arrests here, going to July 28th, 2024, tampering with evidence, failure to appear Aurora, drug paraphernalia, trespass, attempted robbery, assault. Those are all in July. Then we can go down through a lot of these. But some of the more interesting things about this is these arrest records don't match that letter that was sent. And that letter that was sent and these arrest records don't really match the call records I have. So it's really hard to figure out what's going on here. I'm not a criminal justice expert. I have no experience in this. I'm just looking at it from an outsider. So if people have more experience, let me know. But one interesting thing here that I wanted to show was when a lot of this happened, that letter was from basically October 2022 to October 2023, listing all these crimes, all these calls they had. From May to August, that's a big chunk of time, 0 arrests were made at that property, despite all the calls that they had. And so the landlord had insinuated or said he had called for help. He had asked for help with squatters, with crime, and the police weren't responding to him. Is that true? I don't know if any of us can say for sure. We can see there's basically one page here of arrests for all of 2023. That's December 2022, December 2023. And then we have one page for 2020, half of 2024. There's been way more arrests in 2024. Does that mean crime's worse? Does that mean the police are responding more? I don't know. If we go back here to 2022, there was 6 arrests, but then they redacted some stuff. Why'd they redact it? I don't know. Is it really bad? Is it ongoing investigations? I'm not sure. So there's obviously way more arrests in 2022 and 2023. But it's just so hard. Is that because there's more crime or just more calls? So here we have the synopsis of related events for this address, and these are all the police calls that are supposed to come in. And so these first 2 are old. I don't know why they showed up there. We'll ignore those. But basically shows all the calls that came in here, and there was massive amounts of calls. But what I found here, and I don't know if this is, it could just be the way it works. There's a lot of cancel, no units dispatched, canceled, no units dispatched, canceled, no units dispatched, assault aggravated, contact made, cancel, no units dispatched, cancel, larceny, unable to locate, animal complaint, checked area, obstruction of police, false report. That was one of the arrests. But child neglect, cruelty, harassment, cancel, checked welfare, family. And then we go down here and trespass, cancel, contact made. When they do contact made, it's so hard to know what's going on. So this doesn't tell me a whole lot, except there was a whole lot of calls there. Not a massive amount of arrests, I guess, based on the calls from what I see, but especially the letter they sent. But again, I have no experience and don't know for sure. There's a lot going on. So I went through all of these and kind of highlighted the really bad ones, and then I tried to double check them with the arrests, and then I tried to go through them with the letter that was sent and see what was happening there. It was a little tricky. So if we go back to this letter, we can see these are the calls they said were made to the building that necessitated them shutting it down. October 21st, 2022, assault with a gun, aggravated assault with a gun. What was that? October, sorry, I have to go through all of these. On my police report right here, it says contact made. Nothing about assault, nothing about guns. There's cancel, no. October 21st, nothing on that date actually. No. So I don't know if it's a different address they put in their system, and that's why I didn't show up here, but that's the thing, like, no record of that. November 25th, we had contact made for fugitive arrest. Juvenile incorrigible on that same date. Family offense. Nothing about fugitive arrest, and that's how this keeps going over and over and over again. December 11th, nothing on that date. It says motor vehicle theft. December 14th, nothing, no contact made. That's all it says. So for all these contact mades and stuff listed on the police calls, we really have no idea what these really mean or how bad it was. And then, they say these are showing crimes, but their data is much different than the data they gave me. So I don't know if there's different databases or different stuff they look at or how that was all figured out. But that's why it's so confusing and tough for me to figure out what's going on there and how that all worked out. There was some stuff, January 10th, fugitive arrest. No, that's not listed there either. But these get very interesting as we go down here. January 16th, aggravated assault of a police officer. Not on my page. Nothing on January 16th. Motor vehicle theft, those are boring. Drug manufacturer, which would be right in that building, right? You would think that'd have the right address. Nothing on here about that. January 20th, weapons offense, shots fired. That does show up on here. It's just a weapons offense. But weapons offense, shots fired. Weapons offense, shots fired. May 28th, aggravated assault with a knife. Trespass, arson. You'd think that one was listed on the property. It's not. The arson one, June 2nd, shows contact made. So they did make contact with possible arson, who knows. Vehicle theft, weapons offense, shots fired, June 16th, nothing listed. Disturbing the peace, a weapons offense, June 18th, nothing listed. Shots fired again. Then you've got trespass, disturbing the peace. Weapons offense, shots fired, July 11th. We've got nothing there. We did have a canceled, I'm not sure. Theft, assault, June 12th. Oh, that one does show up. That's like the only one that shows up. Fugitive, disturbing the peace. Aggravated assault, July 18th. Contact made. That's all it says. But then, there we go, July 20th. Contact made for weapons offense, shots fired. Pretty serious one. Nothing else there. Disturbing the peace, lots of those. Weapons offense, shots fired, July 31st. Contact made. So, I don't know why they don't tell me that in the one they gave me, but the one they have for Aurora, they do tell you. Disturbing the peace, weapons offense, shots fired, August 5th. Disturbance, noise, and a contact made. So, and I'll just, weapons offense, shots fired, August 6th. Weapons offense, shots fired, August 6th. Disturbing the peace, weapons offense, shots fired, August 6th. Disturbing the peace, aggravated assault with a weapon, August 17th. I do have that one. That's one of the few ones I have here. That's on mine. It keeps going. Weapons offense, shots fired, August 27th. Nothing there. Trespass, disturbing the peace, weapons shot fired, aggravated assault, stabbing. Nothing on mine for August 27th, but it's a very busy day. And very busy day on the 26th for disturbing the peace that don't show up on mine. August 28th, weapons offense, shots fired. This place was crazy. Disturbing the peace, aggravated assault, double shooting on September 10th. And mine does say assault aggravated. That's all it says. Doesn't mention the double shooting. But so there was a lot of crime at this building. Most of it didn't show up on my report, so it's hard to say what happened there, what was going on. But, during all those weapons offense shots fired, if we go to our police report for the actual arrests, we had October 2nd, there was an arrest in 2023 for battery, and August 10th, battery trespassing. There was an arrest, disturbing the peace. Burglary, theft in December, but no real arrests anywhere on here for shots fired, double shooting, things like that, unless it's just, they arrested him for something else. Who knows? But there was a lot going on there, and just for them saying how awful it was, not a lot going on as far as them arresting people for those crimes. Again, I'm not a police expert. I don't know exactly what's going on there. But don't worry, we're going to move on because there's more stuff. All right, there's a police report again. We've seen that. We've seen that. Possible gun battle leads to double shooting at Aurora apartment complex. This happened September 10th. That's that one we just saw, the double shooting. Police are investigating a possible gun battle led to a double shooting in an apartment complex early Sunday morning. They're called to the Fitzsimmons Apartments at Nome Street, which is where my police were at 1:15. A woman was grazed and a man was shot in the leg, both transported to the hospital. Nothing else was heard on that. And then let's see here. Aurora police search for suspect after shooting near North Nome Street. It's on the 1500 block of North Nome Street. I think those are the apartments right there. But this could have been in this house, or the suspect could have gone in the house. They thought he was in the house. It's not clear exactly where this was, but another shooting at least right by there. That's March 23rd, 2024. And then Nome Street homicide. This is the February 2nd one, where the guy from the gang was arrested after the people were shot at the apartments. So there's another one. There's the beautiful apartments, the violations. So there were multiple shootings, at least, one arrest made in conjunction with the shootings. The tricky part is, the arrest record might show people just arrested at that apartment complex and not in conjunction with the crimes at that apartment complex. So figuring all this out is very tricky. But what I'm trying to show right here is that I don't think it was code violations that shut this place down. I think it was crime. Now, the big question is all of this crime perpetrated from Venezuelan gangs or just some of it? Because we have a direct link to one of those crimes through the Aurora Police Department. The mayor said it's through the Venezuelan gangs. A lot of different stuff going on there, a lot of violence there, and a lot of trespass, harassment, different calls on the sheets that would kind of indicate, there could be a squatter situation. It could be a situation where the landlord isn't able to get in there, fix properties, and get this place fixed up to the city standards. The biggest thing, like I said before, is the whole evicting everybody in 6 days. I see no reason why any city government would ever do that unless it was like an emergency situation like this, and where the mayor itself said they're trying to do it again because another apartment complex is taken over, has massive amounts of crime like this one, and they fear for the safety of people in those apartment complexes or want to try and just get rid of people out of this complex. It's a tricky situation. There's been a lot of videos on TikTok and social media and Facebook and YouTube of people going here and driving around saying, oh, look, it's fine. There's nothing here. There's no gangs. I don't think they're going to be sitting on the rooftop with assault weapons, pointing them at people on the street. That's not really how you take over a building. New Jack City, may have gotten us some different ideas with Nino Brown taking over New York apartments, in that movie. But if they are moving squatters in, if they are telling them to pay rent to them, that's something happening inside the building. And if they're smart, they're not going to be outside waving weapons around to get arrested or get people's attention. So it's tricky to know exactly what's going on. There's also a lot of politics going on because you have one side that's trying to say, hey, look at all this crime, look at all this illegal immigration, look what it's causing, look what's happening. Denver is a sanctuary city. Denver had 40,000 immigrants come into it the last 2 years, which is the most of any city in the country based on population size, because they're giving them free hotels and free rent and free transportation, daycare, things like that. And rumor has it the landlord of this building was using a lot of those programs to put Venezuelans in these apartments, and is mostly Venezuelans. And then that kind of backfired because the gangs also went into there, and there's rumors the gangs had sponsored some of these immigrants and people coming in, and so they come back to try and get their money back and different things. There's all kinds of rumors going on. So you've got this side over here, and then you've got another side that's trying to say, well, it's not that bad, there's not much going on, you know, because of politics and election coming in. The people in charge don't want a bunch of craziness going on while they're in charge. They want to show it less, the other side wants to show it more. So there's that to deal with as well. But looking at this, looking at all the data, looking at the crime reports and different stuff, which cost me a whopping $22. So hopefully I make that back in this video. Not a big deal, but it certainly looks like there's massive amounts of crime. It wasn't shut down because of code violations. They could shut down probably hundreds of buildings in Aurora for code violations if they were going to use the same criteria they used here, and they aren't doing that. They're only shutting down the ones with the criminal activity. Is it all Venezuelan gangs? Probably not. Is some of it? We know for sure it is. It's just a matter of how much it is. Is it a situation to be worried about and concerned about? Probably. If they create a task force just for these gangs and are arresting people for murder or attempted murder from these gangs, then I think it would be something to be concerned about if you live in that area, or if you live close to that area, which I actually do. I'm about 50 miles north of this area. So that's what's going on right now. That's my update. Not sure how much we'll ever know about what's really going on, but there are definitely plenty of stories, plenty of people there trying to figure it out, and it's not easy to do. And I feel like in the very least, Aurora was definitely, seemed like they're trying to hide stuff in the beginning by saying it was code violations and all the landlord's fault, when there certainly was more there going on. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. And thank you to the people who've emailed me and sent me stories and videos and different stuff as well. I do get those, and I try to respond to everybody with a thank you, but I appreciate that. And of course, we'll have more videos on my own properties. I'm buying a crazy eightplex here in northern Colorado that would definitely be shut down by Aurora if it was for code violation reasons, but we're gonna fix it up, make it better, and we'll have other videos on my businesses and rentals too.